Okay. Good afternoon. I'd like to thank everyone for making the time to come into our special meeting today. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Since our treasurer, Dave Chambers, is unable to be with us here today, if someone could please make a motion to appoint Christine Pollock as the treasurer pro tempore.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Pritchard. Thank you, Mr. Ross.
Mr. Nichols? Okay. Ms. Pritchard?
Yes.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Ross? Ms. Parkhurst?
Aye. Thank you. And now, Dr. Pollock, if you would mind calling roll, please.
Sure. Mr. Nichols? Ms. Pritchard?
Here.
Mr. West?
Here.
Mr. Ross?
Here.
Ms. Parkhurst?
Thank you. Does anyone have any additions, removals, or modifications to today's agenda? And if not, would someone please make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank
I'll
you,
second.
Thank you, Mr. West. Thank you, Ms. Pritchard.
Mr. Nichols? Ms. Pritchard?
Aye.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Ross? Ms. Parkhurst?
Aye. Thank you. Before going to our action items, we have public participation on the agenda. Since there is no one here from the public, I will go ahead and waive the reading of the rules. And we'll proceed to the action items with Mr. Sable.
It is recommended to the Board of Education to approve the following personnel recommendations pending completion, all required paperwork per our Director of Human Resources, Mr. Shields. We are here specifically to recommend Stephanie Berry and Stephen Perry as administrators within the district. At this time in the school year, individuals do need to get released from contracts in their current districts, which creates the need for a special meeting such as this so that they can get approved by our board. Both of these individuals are currently administrators within the Parma City School District, which is undergoing a decrease in enrollment, and is therefore their superintendent's willing to release their administrators or some of their administrators to other positions. Stephanie Berry has been an associate principal at Parma High School. She has also spent a portion of her career at the middle school level as a teacher. And she will be joining the Claggett staff as an associate principal at Claggett Middle School. Stephen Perry has been an elementary principal in the Parma City schools. He also has experience out in Toledo area as an elementary principal as well. And he would be taking over the reins over at Fenn for Craig, who took over as our technology director. In addition, we have several recommendations for personnel that we put on here since we were meeting. Anyways.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sable. I have a motion to approve the action item.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Pritchard.
Second.
With Mr. West. Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, again, I just want to thank everyone for being able to meet. It's important to get these administrative positions filled. So I thank everyone for taking the time, and I thank our administration for conducting lots and lots of interviews and filling these positions. Thank you.
Ms. Pritchard?
Aye.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Ross?
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst?
Aye. Thank you. And then I do believe we have a executive session, brief executive session.
To discuss personnel.
Okay, thank you. If someone would like to make a motion for an executive session to discuss,
Ms. Park, do you want to make a motion to amend the agenda to add executive session?
okay,
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda to include executive session.
thank you, Ms.
I'll
Pritchard.
second that.
Thank you, Mr. West.
Ms. Pritchard,
Aye.
Mr. West,
Yes.
Mr. Ross.
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you. I don't have on mine what it's specific, it doesn't have to be. Thank you.
Turn that off.
It is to consider the appointment, employment, and compensation of a public employee or official.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sable. Would someone like to make a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Pritchard.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Ross.
Ms. Pritchard,
Aye.
Mr. West,
Yes.
Mr. Ross.
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst.
And there will be no action taken after we return from executive session. Okay, thank you very much.
A quick